Hey everybody, I wanted to make a quick video for you about my finishing process as a self-taught jeweler. First, when I receive everything back from the caster, I have to remove the sprue that's left behind, and this is how I do it. I have a jeweler's saw, and I use a number 3 blade in my saw, and there is a block of soap you can see over there, so I usually use that as the lube. It's a cheap and easy way to do it. And when you're cutting through this metal, it's very easy to break blades. They're super skinny and bendy blades, so it's important to, number one, buy something with a little good quality. They're not too expensive. And number two, make sure they're set in your saw correctly and have a good amount of tension so they're not wobbling around. And the other thing is to just go slow and steady. If you start going too fast, you're definitely going to break your blades, and I've broken a few, so it takes a little bit of getting used to. Once it reaches the end, I just take some pliers and go back and forth and rip that little piece off, and I save them because someday I'll probably use them in fabrication. So the next step I actually didn't record, and that's just to use metal files. I have like 4-inch set of metal files and smooth everything down, especially in that sprue area, and then any other details that you need to clean up from your wax. And that step I usually am spending a lot of time on. There definitely is some little imperfections from my wax carvings that sometimes I just don't see, or things that turn out imperfect just from the casting process. So definitely get a set of metal files and do that step first. So once I've done that, now I'm moving on to all my radial discs. So these come in a set, and you'll have 6 different colors, and each color pertains to a different grit. And you absolutely want to go in order here from the most coarse to the most fine. And the number order is going to be the lowest number is the more coarse. Going up to the highest number is going to be the more fine. So they come loose, and you need to assemble them onto your post. And I use a Dremel, so I bought an 1/8 of an inch shank for these, and there's a little screw, so I unscrew that, and I add 3 radial discs to each of these shanks and have them all set up and ready, and then just always keep track of the numbers. I have a little polishing setup that I made with a block of wood, and that way I've got them all in order, and I pick out one at a time and put them back in their place. And you can even just like write on the wood piece what the number is. And so I'm still on the first radial disc here, and the first 3 numbers I'd say are still an extension of the sanding process. It's not exactly just polishing, because it is removing quite a bit of metal still in these first discs. So for me, it just kind of depends what the design is. If I have something that has a lot of curves and details that I'm still trying to carve and kind of create a little more defined shape, but you may not want to use this disc so much if you have a lot of texture built up with your wax already, like a molten sort of design. Then you really don't want to be messing up the texture you naturally created, and so you may barely use these wheels. But for me, this one in particular, I have the whole band I want to try and get really smoothed out. So, and I'm on the second disc now. So it's also creating lots of scratches, and then as you go down the disc, the scratches become smaller and smaller. They are removing less metal each time, and all those scratches that are getting smaller are then creating that polished shine. So don't skip on the safety equipment here. All this silver dust does fly off and gets everywhere, so you can choose to do this in a polishing box as well. You can choose to do it outside like I am right now. Wear your safety glasses, wear a mask. I have these little silicone finger tabs that keep a good grip on the rings, and also the rings can heat up pretty spicy, so those help protect my fingers from that too. To speak on the Dremel for a minute, some of you may be wondering if you should get a flex shaft at this point or if you could use a Dremel. So I already had a Dremel from past projects when I decided to start doing jewelry. So that's what I started with, and it's working so far for me. I do continue to use it on this step, even though I actually did just buy a cheap flex shaft. So the flex shaft I've found is super useful for a lot of steps, and I bought one on Amazon that was like a Chinese knockoff. So let me know if you want to see a video on that if you're interested. I do prefer it, like I said, for certain steps. But if you're just doing this, and if you're just doing metal and not gemstones, you can definitely get away with just a Dremel if that's what you have. So we are on to the magnetic tumbler next. If you don't have one of these, it's not something you absolutely have to have. If you're just starting out, you don't want to spend the money. It is at least $100 to $150. And if you want to see my video that's just about this, you can check it out. I have a separate video. But this is the step that I take after the radial disc. And I pop it in for usually around 30 minutes. And it really adds a little extra shine before I go on to my stone setting. And then there's a cap full of shine brite in there as well. So here is my stone setting setup. I have a vice grip, which was a cheap way to do it rather than getting the GRS. And then here is my flex shaft with a hammer handpiece attachment. I left the audio on this video so you can hear it at work. I do like the flex shaft, like I said. I'm on the fence about this hammer handpiece. It is a knockoff of the Fordham, even though it claims to be a Fordham. I don't think it is. All I will say is it got the job done. I have set stones with it. I can't really for sure say if it's the most efficient way to do it. But it's a lot cheaper than the real one. So this is what I'm using for now. I've never used the more expensive one, so I really can't speak on a comparison for that. But I just wanted to show you what I use. And if you have any more questions about that, let me know. And like I said, it did work. So it was a $30 hammer handpiece compared to, I believe the good one is like $180. So there you go. So I've kind of made up this stone setting here. It just has these little blobs that go over the pear shape in different areas. So I just kind of finagled with different tools to push that metal over. So with the hammer handpiece, I had a little bezel rocker there. And then I also go in with some pliers. And with the pliers, I protect my metal by using this leather cloth, which is also in the vise, to try and avoid adding any scratches now that I've done all that polishing. So I eventually get it set in there, and then we're going to move on to the final step. And before we do that, I'm going to do my little shout out. If you like this video, if you want to see more from me, please like and subscribe this video. I am self-taught. I am learning along the way. I do not claim to be a professional or I don't have years of experience, but so this channel is all about me learning and doing. And if you are also in the same boat, you can hopefully learn from me and learn from any mistakes I've made, and maybe learn some cheaper ways to do things that work. And I have lots more videos to come on my jewelry making process. So please head over to my channel and hit the subscribe button. And let me know what you think in the comments of anything that you'd want to see. So the final step is to do a polish, and I use this rouge block. And I'm still using my Dremel, and I have a polishing mop that was like a loose, soft felt. It originally started as white, and now you can see it's got like a gray underneath it and the red on top. And here I have my acrylic polishing box. So I love this thing. I got it on Amazon for a little over $40. And everything that you see in my video, I'll have it linked below for you. So this helps contain all that rouge kind of splattering around. I also wear gloves because it will get everywhere. And yeah, just you kind of see it as it goes on the ring. It kind of darkens it and turns it black. So then just keep rubbing it along. That's totally normal, and it'll eventually all disappear. So I lied, and this is actually the very final step. We got to wash them all off and get that polish off of there. I drop them in some dish soapy water for 15 minutes. And after that, I pull them out and rinse all that off and give it a good scrub with an old toothbrush. So that's it for this video, you guys. I hope that this could maybe simplify things a little bit. I know when I started, I was feeling a little overwhelmed by polishing and not knowing what to do. There really isn't just one right way to do it. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, a lot of different methods that people have for themselves. So with all that information out there, I was slightly confused, but this is the way I found works for me. I love how they turn out in the end. So I hope that was helpful, and I will see you guys in the next video. Have a great day. Bye.